Alright, hello everyone. So, in this video, we'll be talking about building with images. Now, this might be familiar or very strange for you, but when we say images, we're actually talking about Docker images or containers. In this particular case, we're going to be using Docker containers as an example. Um, so, uh, the reason why we would do this is because, well, Docker containers allow us to significantly reduce not only the amount of setup, because if you can identify a container that has the correct or the necessary uh, dependencies that you need for a particular script or job, then you can basically reduce the amount of text that you write in your CI, in your YAML CI. So let's actually take a look at how exactly do we use, um, what keywords do we need, and how exactly do we use Docker containers in GitLab. So uh, we're not going to go very deep into Docker containers. There's a Docker lesson on that, which you should have already, or maybe will look at it in the future, if you're here for the training session. So uh, basically, GitLab, even if you're not aware of it, we've actually been already using Docker containers that have been running our jobs since the very beginning. And in fact, it's because GitLab runners are working with a bare bones virtual environment that runs Linux, and that itself is an image. Actually, if we look at one of the log files of our previous builds, let's go here, and let's just click on any job. So for the hello world job, we can see that it says somewhere, using executor with image, GitLab registry, blah, blah, blah. So this in particular is running a version of Alma 9 Linux. All right. But we can actually change that, and we can give our runners, our CI runners, a particular image and a lot of and other dependencies or a different virtual environment that uh, they can have access to in order to run scripts, uh, let's say, easily. So in order to use Docker images, we need to use the image keyword. And we can call the images by just giving the name of the image keyword. So for example, if we go to Docker Hub, we can search for the Python uh, uh, Docker image. And we can also specify a specific version of that Python image. So we can give it with a colon and then the tag, or we can give it an @ and then the digest. Here's an example. So this particular test job is using, again, we're using image as a variable, and we're making use of matrix jobs so that it iterates over all of these images. So the image variable here is going to change values from Python 3.7 to 3.8 and then up to 3.11 Buster. Um, I should say you could also do this in one line with an inline list, but that's just for preference. All right, so this would actually tell the runner to go look into Docker Hub and load that particular image. And then we can, after we have loaded that image, then we can run our script. All right, so back to our CI file. In particular, we're interested in using an image from Docker Hub that has a root installation. So let's take inspiration from the example above, and let's actually use the image keyword. Let's add it to our multi-build here. Image root image. And then let's actually change here from root versions to image and give the following specific root images. Here's one. And here's the other. All right. If you want to take a look at all more versions of root, you can click on this link right here. This will take you to the Docker Hub page of the root project. And you can see that there's a bunch of these root images built for different environments, different dependencies, and so on. So now that we have, now that we're using our runners to run inside a Docker image, we don't actually need to include a lot of these commands in the before script. We can actually get rid of this because we were only using these commands to do what the Docker image already does for us, which is to have an environment with either conda, but more specifically to have a version of root installed. So we can now get rid of this. And this is basically all we need in order to run our jobs. So let's just do this, git add. And again, let's build with images. And just to note here, we use the latest Docker image and an Ubuntu image in this particular example, but the script really remains the same regardless of which image you're using, whether it's a Conda build, it's an Ubuntu build, right? What's important is that the usage of a Docker image greatly reduces the amount of work that we need to do in order to set up our runners to do a specific job or run specific scripts. Also, just something that you might notice if you go through this tutorial alone, make sure that your image works with the CI. Not all images are currently working. Not all versions of the images are currently working on the CIs. You might encounter that some versions of root with some particular tags run and others do not. So just have that in mind. All right, let's just go back to the GitLab. Let's go to the top, go to the feature branch. And wow, that was fast. We've already built the images and all of the pipelines have built. So if we click on multi-build, let's look at one of the logs. Let's look at this one. All right, well, that was fairly quick. It ran in 48 seconds. Wow, that's fast. And yeah, we can see using executor with image root project. So there we go. This runs. That would be all for this episode. See you in the next one.